that means it is time for Muppin Sewing Emporium. How are you doing today? Hope you're doing wonderfully well. It is a wonderful day today. It's actually really nice outside, beautifully warm, toasty. I believe it was like in the 60s. It's in the 60s right now. So, yeah, I am Cheryl Muppin Whited. You can call me Muppin. I got a lot of new stuff to talk about, and yeah, I'm like toasting my little feet here. So like our building holds on to a lot of cold, and I don't like it when it holds on to all the cold. I much prefer when it's this cool in the building, but it's like hot outside. But it has not yet warmed up in here from the winter, and I just would like to take the edge off of the cold in the building right about now. Yeah. Anyway, what's going on with all of you? Hopefully you are doing well. If you're out there and you can hear me, say hello. Give me a thumbs up. And be sure, of course, to always share this video to your feed so we can be live to more and more people. And I do want to say I appreciate each and every one of you who are out there and you share our video. I always appreciate you. So I got this lovely thing here from Target, and I just wanted to say that even though February is over, and this was an item that was part of Target's Black History Month collection. And as you can see here, it says created in collaboration with the Quilters of Gee's Bend. And this is officially licensed merchandise by the Quilters of Gee's Bend, which is amazing. And this is like a notebook cover, and it comes with the pens. It doesn't come with the pens, but it does come with a notebook that says it's in collaboration with Gee's Bend. So this might still be available at your Target, but I think it's really cool. And can we just talk about like how modern this looks, even though it's printed on, and it's machine stitched to look like hand stitching. But I have to say, for a collaboration, this was pretty cool. Charlotte says, I was downtown today to get new strings on my ukulele, but did not have time to stop by and say, hey, had to get back to work. I don't mind one bit. I know I will see you soon. So thank you for that, Charlotte. So yeah, this was pretty cool, little cool item. And I am a lists person, so this is where all of my lists are going to live, is in this really cool Gee's Bend notebook cover. So you might still be able to get that at Target if you haven't yet found one. Restocks. We have I tried so hard to get our book restocked in time for me to go visit the Lexington Quilt Guild for Quilters Day Out, which was National Quilting Day on the 16th. And they had a lovely event, really amazing event. Joy, welcome. How are you doing tonight? And it's back in stock. Smock It To Me is back in stock. Finally, we have it in the store, and I'm about to make sure this gets updated on our website tonight. So after the video is over, these should be live for you to place your order online. And Yeah, so I was teaching this weekend at this quilt guild in Lexington, and these ladies are so nice and they were so great. And so the book is finally in, and I tried to get them in time for the meeting, and the shipping just wouldn't update. You know how that goes, right? You look at the shipping and the shipping hasn't updated, and then you look again and it's like going to be even further, like then when you think it's supposed to ship. And so yeah, so are back books are back in stock, baby. That's it. I'm very excited about that as a restock. Now, the other thing that we just got in, and I have to say, I am pretty excited about this. Um, when we first opened our store, one of the things that we got in right away were some wovens, and these wovens, I'm so excited about these. Okay. So let's just talk about it. We've got a bunch of wovens here, and these four are uh brand new. And these they're just so neat. Now this one to me is just like screams Easter to me. I don't know why. But it's got like orange, teal, yellow, and like a gold yellow. So we have this one. Now, these have like that embroidery on them, which is very cool, and a little fleck of fluff. But here's what's even cooler, right? Is that they're double sided. And unlike some of the other embroidered wovens, like this doesn't have the strings on the backside that some of the other embroideries do. So this is the backside, and here is the front side. And I I have to say, I really think these ones have kind of almost a reversible look to them. Like this is one of the few that's actually reversible. So Jerry says, welcome back from the clean and jerk convention. No, Jerry, that was the clean and create, or create and clean, or as we like to call it, the suck and sew convention. And it was cool. We had a good time. So this is the new fabric. Just got this in, almost double sided, but like look at how cool that is, right? So all four of the fabrics in this weave, you can't say colorway because they're not really colorways, although there are colorways in this weave. But can you beweave it? I'm sorry, I had to say it. So there's this one. Then there's this really cool gray, purple lilac color. And I adore this one. This one I really like. And I like them all. So first of all, if you hear me say I really like this one, it's because I like them all. And then here's the other side. Okay, so you get that reversible feeling about these. These are much more reversible than some of the other wovens that we have in stock. Now, my husband does not like this one at all, but I don't care because I love this one. Now, if you are not a teal and orange combo person, this may not as appeal to you as much, but I love it. And the thing about teal and orange is that it makes khaki. Um, yes, petty, right? Oh, it's pretty. It's petty and pretty. Yeah, I don't necessarily care if Charlie likes this one as much. But I personally like uh the combo here. And I do have to say too, this particular weave, you can see there's almost like the boxes are done in both um orange and gray. Like it's a gray color that's mixed in there. So that one I like a lot. And then here's the fourth one in this collection. And it's like gray, cream, and like a brown. And here's the back of this one. And I just think that these are really, really fantastic. So definitely a lot of options here. I think this one with its micro, sort of like a micro check. Um, we've got these two which go really well together, and these two which really go well together. So there's kind of a cool combo here going on. Um, so these four are our spring release for the wovens, and I just really really love this particular weave on these wovens. These are really cool. Now, in a more traditional for us, we picked up these two, which are a little bit different than the two wovens that we've picked up in the past. And these are Charlie's picks. And for those of you that don't know, Charlie's really good at the fabric color parts. This is his, like, I think this is his unsung talent, is picking colors. So we've got this like sort of robin egg blue with the brown embroideries, and then you can just see like that, almost like that little running stitch between. It's really cool. And then we have it in the brown, and the brown, I think if you were to ask me, I think these are woven with the same colors in each. um and then you have like the green, the blue, and like the almost like the cocoa color. And I think that's what you're seeing in here too, is the blue, the green, and the cocoa. So these two really work well together, and I am really excited about these two. So and then I did want to show you, because unlike our other uh, wovens that have these pluses embroidered in them, take a look at the back of these. So these are like these other new ones. The back is just as interesting as the front, and you get a completely different look. So one piece of fabric can be used almost in two different ways, which I love the versatility of that. So that these two are brought together, very springy, very much, we've got the robin egg and the brown, just to kind of give us that little burst of blue. So combined with some of these other colors, we've got these kind of spring happiness going on. And so I'm really, really excited. Now, the other two things that we got in are these cabana stripes, and these are woven as well. And these two, they are, as you can see here, the weave is gorgeous. This one is woven with like a teal colored, or teal or a green. So you can see the green in between each. And the other one is kind of a multicolor. So you've got this one and you've got this one. And, once again, Charlie really outdid himself in picking these. We think that these are just great, super great additions to the fabrics in the store, with the very, very cool embroidery, or sorry, wovens. Now you can see here on the edge that they're woven in, so that like the back is just the same as the front. Like there's no difference on these with the back and the front. So both of them are they're the same. And so that's really cool. Marion wants to know, did I get to watch the new look about Dior and Chanel? I have not. Um, so I really want to watch that show, and I have had no time since leaving for Lexington and getting back. So I haven't had a chance. So don't spoil it. But I am going to watch it because I'm very excited about it. Now, Mary says, I love the stripes. And I have to say, yeah, Charlie outdid himself on picking these. So this one is really multi. It's got, just like little bands of the different colors. And then this one is kind of like all mixed in with the green. Now, these are not yet up on our website. They will be this weekend. We literally just got them. And when we got home today, I went home, had some dinner. When I got home, there was more fabric on the porch. So there's even more fabric coming because I'm telling you, April is the month here that we go all out. So I'm very excited with how these look. I think you're really gonna love them. They're very, very, very cool. So and we can do like these can be you can do so much with these. So typically what I was doing is I was making cuts like this, and then you can do like this one. You have the stripes going in like another direction. But yeah, you can kind of like match them up like this and have some really, really cool squares that are each one are different because you've got the stripes going in the opposite directions. So you look like that's really, yeah, and then you go like that and you're like, what? That's so cool. Yeah. So anyway, these are cabana stripe, and that's what we're going to call them in the system. That's what they call them when we order them, the cabana stripes. But we've got cabana stripes, and we've got two new plus wovens, and we have the new I don't know what you would even call this. Is this like capri? I feel like this is like what capris are made out of or something. Like, I mean, it's a cotton. It's definitely a cotton weave. Um, but like, what would you call that? Would you call that a capri? Or like, we got to come up with a name for what this weave looks like. They didn't have really an explanation of the weave on the website, so I just kind of like I only picked it because I thought cut up and into a quilt, these are amazing. So I just, but I really, because we just saw this in the catalog, what we weren't expecting was that on the other side they would be like just as cool, and usable. So, um, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to come up with like a cool, catchy phrase for that, but I can't think of one. And then these two again, because they're so like these two would make a beautiful two-color quilt. Um, I can see this as a tunic, maybe in the brown with the blue as a pin, as an accent color. I just think that that would be really lovely. There's just so many options here. These make great shirtings. These make great clothing material. So don't get stuck on the quilting aspect, although I love the quilting aspect. They would be great as clothing as well. Especially something like this would make a cute, cute, cute pair of shorts. Ugh, so adorable. So, and then like I think this as a sundress would also be. I love the brown and the blue also. These two were a Charlie pick. So once again, you got to give Charlie some props for his eye, right? Call him the spring collection. I would say that's a good option. We've got, the cool cabana stripes that I just think work with any kind of quilt. And then you have these two, and these two blend in really well with the rest of our pluses, our embroidered plus collection. So we did get a restock of the pink and the red in the pluses. So if those are colors that you had been missing before, you're going to want to pick up the red and the pink. Now, I had been using those, the red and the pink, in my let it sew, let it sew, let it sew pattern. I know that's a mouthful. Let it sew, let it sew, let it sew. But that pattern uses the red and the pink in the poinsettia. So we got restocks of the red and pink. We have plenty of green. And now we have these lovely, lovely, lovely colors. Now, if you have like a brown or a khaki, so like, I just want to say, like, don't sleep on this one right here. Like this, even though this is like orange and teal, okay? And I have to say, under these lights, it looks way more teal than it does orange. And then in other light, it looks way more orange than it does teal. It's a really cool kind of chameleon fabric, which is kind of neat. So, but I just love teal and orange together. And if you were to take these two fibers and weave them, the fabric becomes khaki. And I do have somewhere in this giant building, I have a woven that is orange and teal, and the fabric just looks khaki from afar. And then, of course, our amazing cabana stripes. So, Charlie, you outdid yourself this time. And I am very happy. Right away, when we put them out onto the shelf, people ran right up and bought this as binding. Look at that as binding. Like, imagine that on the edge of your quilt. Okay. Like, that is a cool binding. This is a cool binding. Okay. Just on the edge of your quilt like that. Just so cool. So right away, people are already buying it today. So these are our spring collections, plus a couple restocks. So lots of fun fabrics coming in. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm not kidding. This is just the beginning. But the wovens are here and they're lovely. So I'm very excited about them. Yeah. Anyway, right. And so, yay, hello. How are you, Beverly? Hope you guys are all doing well. What's your weekend's plans? I'm gonna clean. I know that's terrible, right? Like, but I need to clean the house. It says drink more water, but I really need to drink more water, and I need to hydrate. I traveling always like sucks all the life out of you. And I feel like this is the first time I really flew in an airplane in a long time. Now we've been to the airport a bunch, like picking up Max and dropping off Max and doing all that stuff. And now being the one in the airplane, I am exhausted. It has not been it wasn't exactly it wasn't fun, let's just say. Beverly says she works on Saturdays, so do I. But you'll be sewing on Sunday. That's awesome. I like it. I will be cleaning on Sunday, I think. I get so dehydrated on a plane. I do too. I don't know what it is about the recycled air or whatever. And then even in the airport, and I'm always nervous to drink a lot of fluids before I get on the airplane because then I'm worried I have to go to the restroom. But no, I didn't have a whole lot. I always forget to drink water when I'm at the event because I'm so busy. And then all I do is talk, and you're talking to all the people. And then when I'm done talking to all the people, I'm like, I really should have been drinking water all day. And then it's like the end of the day, and I don't want to drink a whole lot of water because then I'll be up all night. So it's 6 of one, half dozen of another. So, okay. Last time we were here, we've been working on ruching. Charlotte says, I'm packing to take a road trip going to Texas. Texas. Sounds like a good time. Good old Texas. Right. And so these were the two different ruching that I did. Now remember, each one of these started off as a 42 near 44-inch strip. And this one got all the way down to about 15 inches. So this one shrunk quite a bit. And then this one, I want to say, is about 22 inches long. So this one shrunk down about by half. These are the traditional ruching. And then this one is ruching that's happening in a pattern. And you can see how it's kind of almost like a zigzag. Someone mentioned that they thought it looked a lot like a rickrack. Okay, so some kind of rickrack. And I don't disagree. I see it. So this one I'm still working on, and I thought I would have more time on these trips to really work on this stuff. And you know how that goes. It's like the best laid plans, and they never they never really work out. But that's what I've been doing. So I've been trying to work on this new third version. And so here's the back of it. It's got the marks on it. They're very light. I know they're hard to see, but you'll have to trust me, they are there. And so this one is the one that I'm trying to do. Now, I have noticed the last few days, when I got back from teaching at the show in Lexington, my hand was feeling a little tired. And so what I have been doing is I've been using uh so I have this, I don't know what you would call it. It's like a hand, I don't know. It's like a hand massager. And I'm going to pull it up on my screen. Um and let's see here. I feel like I'm like, where did I order it? There it is. Okay. I've had this for a while. Let me pull it up here. It's like, do you want to share your screen? Yes, I do. Okay. Here it is. This is it. Okay. So, yeah, this is this hand massager that I got, and I'm going to drop a link to it in the comments. Okay. Um, this is so you can see it. Now, if you order one off of this link, just know that I will get a tiny commission. Okay, that's up to you. But if you order it off of this, I will get a little tiny. I don't want my cart. No, it's too much. Okay, so here's the thing, and nope, other way. No. It doesn't want to work with me today. Okay. Well, either way, you can see this is what it is. It's a neat thing. And so I disappeared there for a second. Essentially, you put your hand in it and it has like these like air things that compress your hand, and it does like this compression like this, right? And it's got all these like it when you take your hand out of it, it looks like you've been like attacked by a pincushion, right? Because you got all these like little dimple things on your hands. And that's because like the pressure thing has come down and it's trying to like stimulate the blood flow in your hand. And I love this thing. Now, if you read the reviews, there are a lot of people who are like, it squeezes my hand way too much. When I got this little plastic thing. I'll talk about this in a second. When I had a hand injury from over sewing, and yes, you can have a hand injury from over sewing. When I had this hand injury, they would put my hand into a similar kind of device, and it would like squeeze my hand with like a lot of pressure. And initially I was like, wow, this is really squeezing my hand. But then you can set the dial so that it doesn't squeeze too hard. There are a lot of people who are like, even on lowest level, it squeezes my hand too hard. So you have to be okay with like this pillow of air and a pillow of air down here, sort of like, coming down and squishing your hand, but then it releases and it comes down and it releases. So what it's trying to do is to like, again, stimulate the blood flow in your hand, which is gonna help your recovery from sewing too much, etc. The other thing that I do whenever I'm feeling like my hand is starting to hurt is I put on this thing, which is called an oval 8. And oval as in like round. Yes, very much like a blood pressure cuff. Yes. Like, you know how sometimes you put that blood pressure cuff on and you're like, it's going to chop my arm off. It's too tight. This gets nowhere near, to me, nowhere near as tight as a blood pressure cuff gone wrong. Like, there are times when I do our little home blood pressure cuff, it was like really crazy. Oh, hello. I snuck over from my video to come say hello. I met you in Lexington. Thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you. So yeah, if you've ever put on the blood pressure cuff and you're like, it's gonna chop my arm off. This doesn't even get that high of tight to me. So if you do that kind of, if you can handle that, you can handle this hand one. So I love the hand one. The link is in the comments. It's worth it. I had been given an Amazon gift card ages ago, and I chose that as the item I was gonna splurge on. And after a long day of doing a lot of handwork, that little thing is the best. Now, I have to say, when we bring this out at the house, everybody fights over it, including Max. If I use it, then the next thing I know is, can I use it? Can I use it? And then Charlie will be like, hey, pass that over here too. It's like we all forget it exists until I need to use it, and then everybody wants to use it all together. So we always have to make sure it's really charged up. So you just charge it up, you know, and it's cordless, and then you put your hand in it, and it's like so relaxing. So I do a lot of like watching TV and things like that with it. I love that thing. So then I got this thing here to keep my thumbs from hyperextending. So if you are one of the people like me, I know Mary, if you're still watching, Mary and I have this same problem, right? Like most people's thumb is straight up, okay? And our thumbs go backwards like that. Now, the problem when you have a thumb that hyperextends is when you sew, look at what you're doing. You're creating a little like table right there, and your finger goes on top of it. And it's like, that pushing down, right, is pushing back the thumb. It's pushing the thumb backwards. So my occupational therapist gave me this little thing called an oval 8. All right, and it's just a little piece of plastic that keeps my thumb from going backwards. And it's like almost like a splint in a way. Um Mary is hers and I are, I think hers do go way back further than mine, but I still like, they still hyperextend, right? So most people, you're all looking like this. You're all like, what does my thumb do? But if your thumb goes backwards like that, you want something like this to keep your thumb from going further back and you creating that little platform. So what this does is, if I push back on it, my thumb hits the barrier and can't go back any further, so it forces my thumb to be straight, and that allows me to hold my needle in a different way. And so whereas before I would not use the needle, I would use this, and then I would hold it and grip it with these two. Now with the tip of my thumb doing the work, I actually end up bringing in my middle finger, and that helps with all the control that I need over this needle now. And that has really reduced the amount of strain here and here on my hand. I am not an occupational therapist. You can go to your own physical or OT, your OT or your PT, and ask them how you can keep sewing for longer, like for the rest of your life. I want to sew for the rest of my life. I don't want to have issues develop with my hands. And therefore, when I had pain, I went to him and he said to use this thing. So that to me was really helpful when I wanted to learn or relearn. But do I play an occupational therapist on TV? I could have. That would have been a cool job. Like they don't really do a lot of TV shows about occupational therapists, though, do they? It's not like those shows that take place in the ER, and they're all exciting. And occupational therapists are like, squeeze this ball 10 times. Turn this doorknob. you know Here, put your hand in this pressure machine. Which I have to say that was my favorite part of the visit. You know, we do when I did have that problem, my thumb would go backwards like that, and I'd have, and the first thing you do is you do all these warm up exercises, which are literally like this. Okay. I know that's like this is the stupidest exercise, but apparently it's quite good. And and so I was like, okay, well, I wanna do my I did my warm up exercises, and then he's like, "Go ahead and put your hand in the machine." I was like, "That's my favorite." It was so cool. So now I have a home hand massage device, and it's pretty fun. I like it. It's pretty neat. Okay, so here I am on this we're calling the Rick Rack version of ruching. And what I'm trying to do is I need to figure out like which side do I go to next and where do I take those stitches. And from what I can tell, I was this was you can tell by those little uh ruffles there. That's where I had last gone through. So we're going to take a stitch right here, go to the knot, and take another stitch just to lock that together because I don't want that knot to come out. And this is the side we start on. And so just doing that little running stitch. This one is the one you do in almost like a box shape. So you go across the top, then down. And of course, top and bottom are relative depending on which way you're holding the strip. And I'm just trying to get a few stitches there. I'm not trying to do the whole thing. I do not want this to catch on the rest of this strip. This is what happens, right? Like I just tell my students this weekend, I do this stuff and I do it on national TV too, you know? Like if I'm gonna mess it up, I'll do it, in the most embarrassing place possible. Yeah. So, but now it's all flipped. There we go. Got to flip all this finished stuff out of the way. And yeah, so this week or this weekend, I have to get some proposals ready for something very cool, which is really kind of exciting. I haven't been very busy lately on proposals. Like I haven't had to do an art proposal in a while, so that was pretty cool. And then we just are worrying, not worrying, but like we're kind of like fretting over like all the stuff that's coming to the shop for the quilt show, and I'm excited about that. So as you can see, it's done in almost like, so you go top and then down and then bottom, then up, then across. So it just, we're kind of here like towards the end. This strip is not, is going to go really fast at this point. And then I'm going to do one more strip. I did prepare it, and I don't know, I guess like I don't know when I'm really going to start it, but I did get it made. So right now it looks like I'm going to do 4 different ruching types on this panel of the tuffet. The other day I got all the tuffet panels out and looked at them all and kind of started arranging them like how I might want them arranged around on the tuffet, and I got really excited cuz that means this is almost done and I can actually have this on display in the shop for quilt week. I mean, yeah. I'm kind of excited about that. It's going to be fun. All right, so before we get too far, we do have to make that, start to pull some of this together. And see that, like, this is the magic part, right? Where you start doing the pulling and it starts to do all the things. And I'm just trying to not use the thread as leverage, okay? Because that's what's going to cause this all to break, and I don't want that. So and I am actually going to stitch further up here, because I've noticed that the last few times I created the last shell before I finished, and I should at least do that. So this is it. And this is where I'm going to take that, just that extra stitch, to lock everything before this together. And I had my students, say it's like it's an insurance stitch, right? It's like the stitch you hope you don't need. Right? Because now if I let go, all of these are not coming apart. And I can continue to do the next part. If I didn't take that insurance stitch and I decided to go ahead and stitch the whole thing and then pull, it'll break somewhere up here, and then I'd have to restitch it all anyway. So I'm trying to do that insurance stitch just so I don't have to undo the whole thing. And I usually say to my students, like, ask me how I know, right? Because that it's always, these are lessons like that I have learned, that I am trying to hope that you don't have to feel the utter sadness of breaking a thread and having to do something all over again, because it sucks. It really sucks. Um and you're doing a lot with this thread. You're asking this thread to um hold a lot of tension, and your fabric, while it's not got like an inherent like muscle memory or anything, but your fabric wants to expand and lay flat. It doesn't really want to be held like this if it can help it, right? There's nothing that's really setting this permanently into this shape. So it's going to want to relax. And so there is a little bit of tension always being held on these threads to make them do what we're asking it to do. And that can sometimes, over time down the road, when you least expect it, when you wash it, when you have washed it a bunch of times or something, then the thread gives out because the thread is doing a lot of work there. So that's my fear, right? Is I don't want to use a thread that's so abraded that it won't do its job. I need it to sit in that fabric and hold that fabric together. So if I use a piece of thread that is really frayed because I've been pulling it through the fabric a lot, it's not going to be as good as, like, say, a fresh piece of thread. So that's why, even though there might be a lot of thread on this needle, I might actually switch out for a new piece, because here, even though uh it doesn't feel like I've sewn very long with this piece of thread, and I definitely have a lot left over, it's the condition of that thread that's left over, right? So, when you sew down to the very nub, and trust me, I'm not the only one that does it, okay? Right? You don't want to thread a needle again if you don't have to. So you will sew down to the very bottom. You're like, I can get one more stitch out of that. And the problem is that under, and this is another one for Jerry, right? Like, under a microscope, what does this thread like look like abrasive wise compared to what's fresh off the spool? So, and that abrasion matters, right? We don't think of that science, but that abrasion matters when you're sewing because that abrasion means that the thread is weakened. And if the thread is weakened, um, it's not going to last as long in the garment or in the or in the quilt or whatever you put in it. So it's just that kind of stuff that I think about a lot. Perhaps more than I should sometimes. But, you know, yeah. I mean, is there like a quilt scientist? I think that would be kind of dope. I know there's a quilt astronaut and she's coming to Paducah. So get ready, people. Karen Nyberg is coming to Paducah. Her quilts are going to be on display starting later this week. And then she herself, Karen Nyberg, astronaut, quilter, quilted in space. She's going to be here in Paducah. And I am going to try to get her to come to my store. So that's exciting. I can't wait for her to come to town. I can't wait for her to see her quilts. And you know, I think people are going to be really excited to meet her here in Paducah. Her quilts will be on display during the solar eclipse. Yeah, Mary Jerry, guess what? Come on down to Paducah for the eclipse. We're going to have a zone of totality. We will have the total eclipse on Monday the 8th. And I think we're supposed to get a minute and a half of totality. So thousands of people will pack Paducah for watch the totality, and then they will all leave and go home. So I'm kind of excited. It's going to be a big day in Paducah. So come on down to Paducah. All right, so I've done this, and now we're pulling. And like I said, I don't want to, I'm just kind of trying to slide it on the thread because I don't want it to break. If you just sit here and yank on it, it's going to break, right? You can't, I mean, it's still just a piece of thread. It's not like you're not dealing with an iron rod. You're dealing with a little piece of thread that you could break with your hands anyway. So, and so my dad is coming into town for the eclipse. Dad was like, "Hey, I hear you're getting a total eclipse." I'm like, "Yeah, you should come visit." And he's like, "Okay, I will." so now Dad is coming for the eclipse and I'm excited. Dad doesn't get down here to Paducah that much. He did finally completely recover from his eye surgery, so he's very I'm very happy about that. So is he. He was very worried about his vision post cataract surgery, but he is done with his cataract surgery and he is very happy with the results. He does have to get a new prescription for his eyeglasses, and so that has been something he's wanting to get done in the next couple weeks. So yeah, so dad's excited that he got that finished. Okay, so here it is. It's all finished, but as you can see, some of these look more like bubbles and some of them look kind of smushed, and so it's just a matter of taking the time to turn each of the bubbles the right way so that your piece looks the way you want it. And I think some people like get lazy with this part and don't take the minute to zhuzh the fabric. And I always, always, always recommend zhuzhing. You got to zhuzh it. I am also, if I can find where is my quilt stick? Here it is. So this is one of those uses for the quilt stick. And so here, right, is a way for me to use the end of the stick to push out the fabric. Like my finger is almost too big, right? So using a little device here like the quilt stick gets your fabric to lay in the direction that you want it to, and it just makes it look a little better. I know that people get like, why doesn't mine look like yours? And I'm like, well, because I spent the time to zhuzh it. You gotta zhuzh. And I actually had to write the word zhuzh in my book. Okay. I'm not kidding. Zhuzhing. So there you go. You got to zhuzh it. It's a thing. I've made it a thing now. You're gonna zhuzh it. It just needs a little zhuzh. So there we go. And there, I like it. I think it came out really cool. Now, this is the next piece. All right, I haven't done anything with it yet. But here's the current piece. Let's see. Oh, it came out exactly 18 inches. So it shrunk down less than this one. This one shrunk down the most, then this one, and then this one shrunk the least. Isn't that funny how they all started off the same length and ended up so different? And they do have, I mean, there are going to be people who are like, Cheryl, all three of those look the same. They're not. I hope you can see that. They're not. This one was done with really wide, like V shapes. They were like very, very wide apart. This one was in the box shape, and these V's were very narrow. So you have very narrow V's and very wide V's. And so this one's very wide, this one's very narrow. I just think they're cool. They came out really, really neat. We have one more in this category for this for the ruching section of the tuffet. And this one, instead of folding the edges in, I folded the edges in and sewed it. I sewed a tube. So this one is going to start with no raw edges on the back. This one has raw edges. You can see them there. See that raw edge there? That's just because I folded the fabric in. This one is not going to have anything raw because it will have the raw edges are captured inside the tube. So this one's a little bit different. Now this one needs to be really, really pressed because you can see here, like that fold is not right. So this is going to need a lot of prep to get it to a point where I can then do the stitching on it. But that, my friends, is next week. So one more week on this particular one, and next so we have one more ruching, and then we are on to the next piece. So we have one more to do. I think we just have the last one to do for the tuffet. So after this, one more. And I'm excited. I hope you are too. My friends, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. I hope you get some sewing done. Have a fantastic weekend. Enjoy yourself. Stay safe. sew something, and I will see all of you next week. Take care. Bye bye.